The Empress of the Valari stood frozen at the doorway. Her 4 eyes blinked in confusion. She had spent 300,000 credits on the sleeping chamber. The beds were made from the softest clouds of the nebula moons. The pillows contained golden threads from the rare silk worms of Antari Prime. The temperature was perfect. The lighting was gentle. Everything was designed for her twin cubs, but the cubs were not there. The Empress turned to her guards. Her voice was sharp, like breaking glass. "Find them now!" The guards searched the entire palace. They looked in the gardens. They checked the food halls. They opened every door. Finally, a young guard came running back. His face showed something strange. It was not fear. It was confusion. "Your Majesty," he said slowly, "we found them." "Where?" "In the humans' quarters." The Empress felt her blood turn cold. The human. Marcus Webb. The creature from Earth that her council had purchased 6 months ago. He was supposed to be a curiosity, a strange animal from a primitive world. He was kept in a small stone room near the servant quarters. The council said humans were fragile. They said humans were simple-minded. They said humans needed to be studied. The Empress walked through the long corridors. Her royal robes dragged across the marble floor. She moved past paintings of her ancestors. She moved past statues of great Valari warriors. The hallways became smaller. The decorations became fewer. Soon she was in the oldest part of the palace. The walls here were plain stone. The air was cooler. She stopped at a wooden door. It had no lock. Why would it? The human was not important enough for locks. She pushed the door open. The room was small. There was no bed. Only a thin mat on the stone floor. A small window let in the pale moonlight. And there, in the middle of the room, was the human. Marcus Webb sat against the wall. He was awake. His strange, soft eyes looked up at the Empress. He did not bow. He did not tremble. He simply sat still, and on either side of him, pressed against his body, were her cubs, Kira and Nox, the future of the Valari Empire. They were curled up like small animals. Their heads rested on the human's legs. Their breathing was slow and peaceful. They were sleeping deeper than the Empress had ever seen. "What is this?" the Empress whispered. Marcus looked at her. His voice was calm. "They came to me. I did not take them. They have the finest beds in the galaxy. They have everything they need." "They do not need things," Marcus said. "They need warmth." The Empress did not understand. The palace was warm. The temperature was controlled perfectly. But when she looked at her cubs, she noticed something. Their small hands were gripping the human's clothing. Their faces were relaxed. There were no nightmares tonight. There were no tears. For 6 months, the cubs had been having terrible dreams. They woke up screaming. They cried for hours. The doctors could not explain it. The priests performed rituals. Nothing worked. The Empress had tried everything. She had bought them new toys. She had hired the best musicians. She had given them anything they wanted. But they kept having nightmares. And now, in this cold stone room, beside this strange alien creature, they were sleeping peacefully. "How?" the Empress asked. Marcus shrugged. It was a very human gesture. "I told them a story." "A story?" "About Earth, about my daughter, about the time we watched the stars from our backyard, about how I held her when she was scared of thunder." The Empress felt something crack inside her chest. She remembered the reports about Earth, a small blue world, primitive technology, short lifespans. The humans lived only 80 years. They were fragile. They broke easily. They died from simple diseases. The Valari lived for centuries. They had conquered dozens of star systems. They were powerful. But this human had something she did not. "Your daughter," the Empress said. "Where is she?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. His eyes became distant. She died 3 years ago. A disease took her. She was only 7 years old. The Empress felt her legs weaken. 7 years. That was how old her cubs were. "I am sorry," she said. The words felt strange in her mouth. She had never apologized to a servant before. "It is why I did not fight when your people took me," Marcus said. "I had nothing left on Earth, nothing to go back to." The Empress looked at her cubs again. Kira's small hand was wrapped around Marcus's finger. Knox had buried his face in Marcus's side. They looked safe. They looked protected. "They came to me last week for the first time," Marcus continued. "Knox said the palace was too quiet. He said the silence was loud. I did not understand at first. But then I remembered. My daughter used to say the same thing. She could not sleep unless I was beside her. She needed to hear my heartbeat." The Empress touched her chest. Valari hearts beat once every 10 seconds. It was slow and steady, controlled, efficient. But humans were different. Their hearts beat fast, 60 times per minute, 70, sometimes more. It was wild and chaotic. "Your heartbeat," the Empress said slowly. "They can hear it." "Children need to know they are not alone," Marcus said. "It does not matter what species they are. They need to feel that someone is there, someone who will protect them." The Empress sat down on the cold stone floor. It was uncomfortable. It was hard. But she did not move. She simply looked at the human who had done what she could not. "I have ruled this empire for 200 years, she said. "I have won wars. I have signed treaties. I have built monuments that will stand for 10,000 years, but I could not help my own children sleep." "You are an empress," Marcus said. "You have duties, responsibilities. Your love is real, but your time is divided. Children do not understand politics. They only understand presence. And you have nothing but time." "I have nothing but them," Marcus said. "They remind me of her, of what I lost. Being with them helps me too." The Empress felt tears forming in her eyes. She had not cried in over a century. She thought she had forgotten how. But sitting in this cold room, watching a fragile human comfort her children, something broke free inside her. "Tomorrow," she said, "I will have a proper room prepared for you, a real bed, heating, everything you need." Marcus shook his head. "I do not need those things." "Then what do you need?" He looked down at the cubs. His rough human hand gently touched Kira's hair. "I need them to keep coming. I need to feel useful again. I need a reason to wake up." The Empress stood up slowly. She looked at this creature from a primitive world. He had nothing, no power, no wealth, no status. But he had something that all her gold and technology could not buy. He had the ability to make children feel safe. "You are no longer a curiosity," the Empress said. "From this day, you are part of this family. You will eat at our table. You will walk in our gardens. You will be protected by my guards." Marcus looked surprised. "Why?" The Empress smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "Because my cubs chose you. They had everything in this palace: golden pillows, silk sheets, temperature-controlled chambers. They had it all. And they chose a cold stone floor beside a human." She walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back one last time. "Perhaps," she said, "we conquered the wrong planet. Perhaps we should have asked Earth to teach us instead." Marcus said nothing. He simply held the cubs closer. And in that small stone room, in the oldest part of a great galactic palace, 3 broken souls found something they had all been searching for. They found home. The Empire would change after that night. The Empress ordered her scientists to study human psychology, not to control them, not to use them, but to learn from them. She wanted to understand why such a fragile species had evolved such powerful instincts for love. And every night for many years after, the cubs of the Valari Empress refused their golden pillows. They walked through the long corridors, they passed the paintings and statues, and they slept beside the human named Marcus Webb. Because some things are more valuable than gold, some things cannot be bought or conquered, some things can only be given.